computer. Right. Cool. I'm probably gonna mute Virginia every once in a while. Just an FYI.
It's loud over here. Fucking A. I'm old.
Okay.
Fucking kids. Shut the fuck up! Fucking
Love to hear it.
Damn it.
Cool beans,
Yeah, I
guys.
can have motherfuckers too.
All right. Live on Facebook, you guys. Let's do this. Second. Okay, I feel like somebody left the room, but anyway. Hey, it's Alicia Rain, coming to you from my aunt's basement, where you can see it's like there's hunting stuff going on in the background, making Ian Ryland Smith the host. There we go. So yeah, I'm out in the country right now, and I just saw a skunk, a literal skunk outside, and it didn't smell. And so I was like, okay, so he's cool. He's cool, you know. And so I did the only thing that anyone can possibly do, which is go inside and lock the door. So that is what I did. But happy Halloween, everybody. You know, some people have some cool costumes. I myself am a cat burglar. Right? I'm not somebody who like steals cats, but I'm a cat that breaks into places and steals stuff. And it's mostly just laser pointers, guys. So it's just perfectly, you know, we're just, you know, it's harmless, but it's still a thrill. So, yeah, this isn't my favorite costume though. My favorite costume ever was just a sign that said, I'm Mary, comma, you know, from the Bible. So I thought that was a pretty kick butt costume. And I wore that to a Halloween wedding. And I don't know if it was my costume, you know, sort of religious implications, or because the wedding was on Halloween, but they are divorced now. So, you know, I don't know if either of those things was a bad omen. It didn't help that his name, the groom's name, was also Damien. So that didn't help. Didn't help. Yeah, I feel it's kind of a good thing. It's a nice change to wear a mask on the top of my face rather than the bottom. So that's kind of a nice change. Yeah, it's also hunting season, you guys. They are here. They have come here in droves to hunt the elusive pheasant. Which is, if you don't know what a pheasant is, it's a cross between a turkey, a duck, and stupidity. So they can only fly high enough to be murdered, you guys. You know, and so we have an entire season devoted to murdering this bird, and of course, hunting season. And, you know what happens when it's hunting season. Jack Daniels and Budweiser make a hell of a lot of money. Yeah. Because drinking while holding a loaded firearm goes together like drinking and unprotected sex. Yeah, it's a real peas and carrots situation there. So yes, but I don't understand, because why wouldn't people want to feel safe around their rifle or their gun? Talking about penises. Next up is also Thanksgiving. And I'm not looking forward to that, because you have to cook a lot. And I am terrible at cooking. I burned a pan of brownies the other day, the entire pan. And I burned it so bad that I made edibles unedible, you guys. Yeah, I'm actually almost dangerous in the kitchen. One time I microwaved a tortilla for 8 minutes. And that microwave was never the same. Weirdly enough, neither was the tortilla. So, but in the end, everything was okay, because the microwave was my roommate's. So yeah, I wasn't the greatest roommate, but I was by far not the worst. Oh no, I had the worst roommate. She was fantastically bad. We lived together in college. I was 21. I would buy beer all the time, but my roommate, that just wasn't good enough. So she got a fake ID. Right. And I'm like, okay, that's up to you. And then she went and tried to use the fake ID. And the first time she used it, they were like, this isn't real. We're calling the cops. And the lady was like, do you want to stay? Because the cops are coming and it'll be a few minutes. And she's like, no, I'll stay. So she stayed for 15 minutes until the cops got there. And we're like, why did you do that? Why did you stay? And she's like, because my real name and real address was on the fake ID. And I'm like, are you kidding? Guess who else's address is on that fake ID? Yeah. So in the end, they ended up pressuring her, and she ratted out the guy who made her fake ID. So I lived with a narc, everybody. And she not only was a narc, she basically went to the top of a mountain and shouted it to everybody that she was a narc, because she did an interview with the local television station, and they put her ID on the screen, and it was barely blurred. So again, you could see her face and you could see the address, which was again my address. And this guy who made her ID was also like doing more white collar crimes than that. And so it turned into this whole thing. His very scary girlfriend used to call the house, and we had a landline, and she would call and be like, I'm going to cut you, bitch. And I'm like, let me get the person that you actually want to cut. Carol, yeah, it was a bit of a scary time. She was just so bad. She was almost like an icon, like Cher is the icon of the LGBTQ plus community. My old roommate was the Madonna of being an asshole. She was very good, you guys. Thank you so much for coming. We have a fantastic show. Paul Kilmer, he's going to be doing some music. Rachel Rothenberg, she's going to be our headliner. We're going to have him, Clancy, a little bit later, but right now, coming to the Zoom stage is Brian Barbecue. Let's hear it.
Hell yeah. Thank you so much. Slap that meat together for Alicia, everyone. Let her hear it. This is awesome. I'm having the best Halloween fucking ever today. Hell yeah, you guys. I love Halloween. It's the one day a year, you know, juggalos come back from the dead. So that's super fucking cool, right? Hell yeah, let's get that energy up. I am partying. Why not? I like love Halloween and I hate Halloween because like who doesn't like getting high and eating a bunch of candy? Obviously, I love it, but it's the one time, especially the year, like a time of year where everyone, and I mean fucking everyone, thinks my hair is a wig and I can't fucking stand it. Like I did a Halloween show one year. And I was going to the bathroom and people were walking in and they saw me and they go, "Oh, I didn't know I had to wear a costume." I was like, "What the fuck?" You know? And they don't just ask, like, "Is that a wig?" They ask me weird questions that make me feel self-conscious. They'll be like, "Are you hot?" Or like, "Is that thing itchy?" That thing, like my actual fucking head. I don't know, whatever. I'm done about it. But I'll tell you why. I have a weird mixed background, you guys. A little bit about me. My mom is from Turkey and my dad is from veal parmesan. Thank you. That's the best joke I've ever written. It's the only joke I've written, and I lost that CVS receipt I was writing everything on, so this is pretty hard, actually. Whatever. I was hanging out with my brother the other day. I'm 32. He's 15. So like, you know, one of us is a mistake. But either way, we're hanging out, and I love him and shit. And we were playing Super Nintendo. I have a Super Nintendo still. I'm fucking bragging. We were playing it, and my 15-year-old brother said, whatever game we were playing, goes, "Oh, this game looks easy. I bet you I could beat the whole thing." And I'm like, "Well, yeah, because you could like Google it and see like on the internet." Like when I was a kid, we didn't have the fucking internet to teach us how to like beat Super Mario 2 and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, remember what you had to do to be, you had to what? Buy a fucking magazine, like the biggest nerd ever. Like, I'm gonna spend $30 so I can beat Donkey Kong on Game Boy or like whatever the fuck. Or if you're poor like me, you had to wait till some older boy with a rat tail would come over and teach you how to do it. And you're like, "Oh, now I know how to get all the flutes in Mario. Thank you so fucking much." All right. Everyone feel free to unmute and give me a standing ovation real quick for these hot. I'm teasing, whatever. I don't know. We didn't have the fucking internet. I just wish we had it because like I'm 32. So like I didn't get the internet to like half, like, I don't know, when I was 12, 13, like anyone else in that time period.
Yeah.
And remember, like, I had like just one computer in one room. I know I sound like an old man, like just one computer in one room, but I miss that shit. Remember the computer room? Like,
Yeah.
Like, I want to go back to that. Like, I miss that when you and all your family members just masturbated in the same room. I think we need to go back to that. Start from scratch, reinvent MySpace or something. You know, just try again. You fucked up. So Halloween's crazy, right? No, we live in the middle of nowhere. My wife and I, that's Ham. She's here, right there. We live in Ellington, Connecticut. I don't know where it is either. Nothing interesting happens here, but I guess this is my big story for like the fucking year or whatever. This was like a month ago. It was like 3 a.m. My wife goes to me. She goes, "Hey, I'm out of tampons." And I go, "Are we out of tampons?" Because I say feminist shit like that, but it's 3 a.m. and we're in the middle of nowhere. Where am I gonna fucking go? There's like maybe a gas station down the street that has something, or I have to go towns and towns and towns over to like a 24-hour CVS or some shit. So I go to the gas station because I love her, but fucking come on. So I go. I find a box. It says tampons, mission successful, right? I slap it on the counter. The cashier walks up. She looks at it and she just goes, "Ugh, cardboard applicators. I hate those." And I noticed it's just women giggling right now. So fellas, pay attention because I didn't know what the fuck was happening. I was like, "What?" She was like, "Yeah, it was a gas station at 3 a.m. Obviously, she was screaming the entire time. She's like, "Yeah, there's cardboard applicators and then there's plastic applicators." And it's like, holy shit, because I'm learning so much right now. Because first of all, I didn't know it was like a Flintstones push pop. So that's like fucking crazy, right? That's blowing my mind. But then I'm like, okay, do you have plastic applicators then? And she just looks and goes, no. Then why the fuck would you say something? I feel bad, right? I don't know. That's like my one story because like really I'm just out of TV shows to watch. If you guys could give me new TV shows recommendations, that would be super rad. I already watched You, so I can't do that. Seriously, someone left. They're like, I'm gonna go fucking Netflix it real quick. Cool. Now it's a perfect square that I could talk to. I feel like I'm in the Matrix too, but I've seen that too. So don't let me. No, it's like I don't know if this is gonna hit because pretty much I'm bombing right now. I think in the fucking metaverse or whatever. But I've been watching like a lot of old school Nickelodeon lately, and not even just all of Nickelodeon, just one show in particular, and that's Legends of the Hidden Temple. Are you clap if you're familiar with the show? Blink. I don't know. Make a movement. Okay. Clap if you're not familiar with the show. It's okay. This is a concept and I can explain it to everybody real quick. Tell me. I'm going to explain it and you guys can tell me if this is a good explanation. It was a show on Nickelodeon in the early 90s. They take a random boy and girl ages like 11 and they'd make them like on teams with goofy names like the Purple Parrots, Blue Barracudas, and they'd have to do light, easy physical challenges against each other, like cross this river but it's a pool, climb this mountain but it's a stage, shit like, and they'd win like JanSport backpacks. Does that make sense? Woo, that's a good explanation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but it had this one key element to television shows, a very 90s thing they did, and they need to do it in more fucking shows, and I love it, and that is interview children immediately after they lose something. Have you ever? Oh, it's so fucking good, right? Like you see like a star athlete lose a game in the NFL and get interviewed afterwards. He loses gracefully. That is a skill set you learn, how to be humble when you lose. Children don't know how to fucking do that, right? They just stick a microphone in their face and they're like, Billy, what happened out there? And Billy's like, she didn't do it. And I'm just high on my couch. Like, I fucking love this show. Trying to see if I have jokes for this. Or how am I doing on time? No, I have time for one more story. This is fun. You guys are the best. I have a fucking perfect one. I wanted to talk about, this is cool to be doing shows on Zoom, even, I love Zoom. I love doing comedy on Zoom, but if I had known like when the first shutdown had happened was gonna be my last show, like I would have appreciated it a little bit better. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's mostly comics in here, so I feel like I can talk about this. The last show I did a fundraiser show, and we all know like that means I'm doing a show for free for charity. It's fucking awesome. It's for a good cause, but you know, dick jokes, double yay, right? I don't know how it went so poorly. I regret bringing it up, but I'll try and tell you it. Don't get mad. Just listen. All right. I was talking about Lou Gehrig's disease. I'm not gonna make fun of it, but what I said was Lou Gehrig's disease is a terrible disease. Like, it really is. But it must be pretty cool to have a disease named after you. I mean, can you imagine how cool Jeff AIDS must have felt? Right? It's a 10 out of 10 joke. I fucking stuck the landing and everything. I was like, Jeff AIDS, jazz hands, all that shit. Bar owner and entire fucking crowd super fucking pissed at me. Literally, as soon as I get off the stage, the bartender's waiting for me, like rips me inside. He's like, what the fuck was that? He's like, this is a benefit show for people with ALS. And I'm like, well, I don't know. I don't even watch minor league baseball. So, all right, you guys are a lot of fun. Thank you so much for having me. Enjoy the rest of your show and keep it going for Alicia Rain, everyone.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. Fantastic job. I'm sorry, that is hilarious. This is a fundraiser for AIDS. Oh, that's fantastic. Anyway, we are going to go ahead and move it right along back to that same living room to hilarious comedian. She's got her own set of stories. She's rocking it out. Here is Ham Clancy. Woo!
Hell yeah! Thank you so much, Alicia. Happy Halloween, everyone. This is dope. I know most of you on a first name basis. A lot of you have already seen like several costumes that I've worn the last couple of days. And it's like, well, Ham, now you're just in a sweater and a beanie. Where's your costume? Well, bold of you to assume that this ain't it, because it is, okay? It is Halloween, and I am currently dressed as someone who doesn't fucking want kids, okay? I am just sitting inside with all of my front deck, porch, everything, lights off, and being a curmudgeon. That is my costume. I do not want children. The only baby bump I want is the kind you get off the tip of someone's keys after a show in a dive bar. You can fucking quote me on that shit. I don't care. This is my costume. It's true. I got married to Brian a year ago, and when we first got together, I was like, you know what? Really don't want kids, so I should probably get on some birth control. And I had never done that before because previous to this moment in my life, I was just, I don't know, gross. Okay. I just was like, full of pray, baby. If you don't pray within 60 seconds, God stops listening. Don't be selfish. All right. So I was like, let's get on some birth control. Let's do something a little more tried and trusted. So I Google where to go and I drive into the capital city here in Connecticut. In Hartford, and I go to the Planned Parenthood, and outside there's a woman holding a sign. That's fun, right? Someone had $1 and an opinion. So her sign said, hangers are for coats. That's a fun one, right? Hangers are for coats. But she spelled hangers Hangars, which is a storage facility for airplanes. So she's got a lot of fucking coats. I don't know. Like, I don't know why she needs a hanger for her coat. And you know, there's a lot of homeless people in Hartford. It seemed a little tone deaf to be bragging about such a thing. But you know what? I'm not here to judge. I weave past Nancy North Face and I get inside, right? I'm here for some birth control. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to skip on in, get a handful of slut Skittles and skedaddle. Let's do it. Easy. But that's not how this shit works, folks. All right. Doctors are salespeople. They will pitch you things you have never heard of before in hopes that you are dumb enough to go for it. And I am their target demographic. They pitched to me something called the Depo shot. Now, if you don't know what it is, the side effects are horrible. I did not Google it ahead of time. I just went for it. And to get you all in on it, you know, just so everyone knows what it is, we all know what I'm talking about. It's a 99.7% effective form of birth control administered every 3 months via a shot right in your ass.
Woo!
Now, it's not the first time I've taken a shot in the ass to avoid getting pregnant. But it is the first time there was a copay. So it was just really different. Okay. It was just really different experience. Connecticut's expensive. They warned me before I came here, but now I get it. Now I fucking get it. And you know what? It's a gamble. You go somewhere new, it's a gamble. You never know what you're getting into. But what greater gamble than tonight, folks? Being a child, ringing doorbells, and accepting food from strangers. Halloween is a huge fucking gamble. I've seen enough episodes of Hoarders to know I want no part of Halloween, all right? You don't know what lies behind those doors. You don't know how much that shit is decor. You see a living room on Hoarders just on the screen, and all of a sudden you think, sort of, that you can smell cat piss and a little bit of maple syrup for some reason. Like, you just see that room, and you're like, I fucking know what that room smells like. It's nasty. And candy doesn't make it better for me personally. And you know what? I can prove that shit. Because like my favorite movie growing up was Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory with Gene Wilder, the OG one. It's my favorite movie. And it's all about candy, right? All about candy. It's got lots of candy. Everything looks fucking scrumptious. But there is only but one scene in that whole ass flick that I feel like I can smell. And that is the scene where all 4 grandparents are in bed at the same time. Okay. It has nothing to do with the good stuff. It's fucking gross. These people eat cabbage water almost exclusively. They discuss that in the film. Okay. And y'all have had an egg roll and then farted or something. I know you have. Like, all you have to do is like picture that asshole and then multiply it. So now you have 4 assholes under one blanket for, I don't know, 37 goddamn years. That room stinks. Okay. That room fucking it stinks. Halloween is the ultimate gamble. It really is. It's the ultimate gamble. You know, they say marriage can be a gamble too. You know, you want to make sure you marry the right person because it's for life. Or if you have 10 grand, you can usually get rid of it. But you know, whatever. It's supposed to be for life, right? It's supposed to be for life. And I feel like I hit the jackpot. Like I said, we just celebrated a couple of days ago was our 1 year anniversary, and it's been a year of amazing personal growth. I'm not gonna lie, you guys. Honestly, I have grown so much over the last calendar year. Truly. Like mostly in the pubes department, not gonna lie. All right, completely let that shit go. It's been awesome. It's been awesome. I'm no longer showing the property to prospective buyers. Okay, no one gives a fuck if I've got hardwood floors or not. I installed wall-to-wall carpet and I'm living my best life. Okay, I'm saving so much money on raising. Y'all don't even know. I'm passing the savings on to you. But with that being said, now you got a visual. I'm gonna take a moment to celebrate my husband. You just met him, you just saw him do some stand-up, some sit-down, whatever you want to call it on Zoom. And he's a great guy, and I'm going to celebrate something. So he did something right today. You should always celebrate your partner when they do something right. It's important. So here goes. Earlier today, Brian was going down on me because he's a good Christian and an American patriot, right? Like, beautiful. I know. He's a great man. Except he started doing something new that I really liked, which is a tough situation. Okay. Women get this shit. Cause like if they start doing something new and you really like it, how do you gracefully tell them, hey, the thing you're doing right now, could you just do that forever because everything else was garbage? Could you just do this one thing and stop trying literally anything else because this is it, baby, right? And how do you gracefully tell that to a man in the moment? How do you do it without killing the vibe? You can't pull him into like a peewee soccer huddle like, hey, champ, love your hustle out there today, you know? You gotta be sexy. You can't be grabbing like a bag of orange slices from the nightstand and tossing them to him to get your star forward back in the game, right? You have to be sexy. So I was like, all right, pull it the fuck together, girl. What are you going to do? I'm like, all right, this is what I'll do. I'll ask him. I will give him the power. I'll ask him like what it is that he's doing. Now, spoiler alert, I knew the answer. Okay. I'm very familiar with the neighborhood. I know what's going on down there. What he was doing, I'll tell you, you want to write it down, fellas. You never know. This could be the key for you also. But what he was doing was a light suckling motion. Like he was calling a Yorkshire Terrier, like, right? Like small dog or small animal. Maybe you're a cat person. That's small suckling motion. So I still was like, I know the answer, but I'll ask the question. So I was like, baby, that felt so good. Like, what was that? I loved that. What was that? Here's what this piece of shit said to me. Okay. First of all, he came up slightly winded, which I did not appreciate. And then he said to me, yeah, had your whole clit in my mouth. Which made it sound huge. Okay. Like it just made it sound like he had to limber up to stick the landing, which is fine. But like it made me feel a little self-conscious. Like whole is a brag word. Whole is something you say when you see a snake unhinge its jaw and swallow a mouse, right? Like, swallow that mouse whole. That was impressive. Color me impressed. Okay. And I will leave you with a cautionary tale because it's Halloween. We'll leave you with something scary tonight. You guys, I'm going to scare you a little bit. It's going to go back. It's going to go back a few years, but a cautionary tale. 5 years ago, I lost 100 pounds in 10 months. It was real quick. And I did it by eliminating all carbohydrates, sugar, and joy from my life. Yeah. And at about month 6, It Chapter 1 came out. And right around the same time, one of my friends said to me, hey, Ham, did you know on this little diet you're doing, you're allowed to have sugar-free candy? And I was like, no. Halloween's coming up. It Chapter 1's coming out. The old It, the OG It by Stephen King was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. Love that shit. So I was like, this is dope. I'm gonna get a bag of sugar-free candy and go to the movies. I'm gonna do it. So I bought a bag of sugar-free Reese's Cups. I went and saw It Chapter 1. I ate the whole bag, you guys. It was awesome. But no one took a moment to explain to me that the sweetener in sugar-free candy, maltitol, is also an extreme laxative. Okay, so let me just tell you, It Chapter 1 is supposed to be a scary movie, but nothing was more terrifying than the 20-minute drive home. We went from it chapter 1 to shit chapter 2 so fucking fast it'll make your head spin, okay? And to put it in terms we can all understand, as if we were all there. When I say that night I shit in 4 lawns, they were front lawns, okay? There was no time to even go to a back. I shit in 4 front lawns. And I know what you're thinking. That's disgusting. Okay. No. You know what? I have napkins in my glove box. I wiped. I am a lady. I am not an animal. Okay. But also, like not an animal, I left the napkins there because this did not feel like a carry in, carry out situation. Okay. I was like, I'm leaving it here. And that may not mean much to you folks, but to those 4 homeowners who checked the mail the next day and then saw that, they had to flip through their mental Rolodex of every person they've ever pissed off, trying to figure out who finally had enough and took a shit in their front lawn. Okay. Because we're all this close. So go outside, go check out your stuff. People are out there creating mayhem. And that's it for me, you guys. My name's Pam. Have a great night. Happy Halloween.
Hey, good stuff. Very funny. I feel like, the Malotol, I feel like that would do nothing for me. I have the exact opposite issue that I'm like, yeah, no big deal. A little bit about me.
Oh yeah, get after it.
Also, the Depo shot does work as a really great birth control because it gives you your period the entire time. So it was terrible. Plus the fact that I was with the hottest guy ever and I couldn't have sex because of this Depo because I'm not, I don't like to ride the crimson wave that way. So yeah, it was pretty terrible. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and move it along to a little bit of magical comedy magic, either or both. Next up is the amazing Paul Kilmer. Woo!
Oh man, I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
We're gonna keep the energy moving into my set, and we're gonna pretend that I have things written down. I'm gonna give you the same type of energy that you've come to know and love from my sets, which is none at all. So a lot of people ask me what I came dressed as, and I'm gonna take my shirt off and show you. I just don't want anybody to get scared because I'm very pale, and some of you might want to put on sunglasses. Okay. I'm Grimace from McDonald's. I'm gonna write that one down. So, I'm a comedy magician, which means I do magic as a magician and jokes as a comedian, but I'm not good at either. So this is whatever it is. I warned you beforehand. If you don't like it, you could have left at any time. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my first piece of magic. It uses my lighter and paper. All right. I can't see anymore. There's usually a dove at the end of that, but they don't like being set on fire. There are laws against that now. I burned the hair off of my arm for you. Mainly because I like the smell. You made it about you. I'm going to show you guys a trick, but before I do, I just wanted to let you know, because I'm a magician, it's okay for me to have a bag of rope, handcuffs, and rubber gloves. Think about it. If I weren't a magician, that would be kind of creepy, right? But I am, so you're just gonna let it pass. And you shouldn't. Just to let you know, if any of you are subscribed to my OnlyFans, I'm gonna be doing something with this shot glass and 11 ball later. We got some I'm gonna be doing this really neat trick I can do with it. I learned it from a lady at the world famous donkey show in Tijuana, Mexico. Where I will be opening for the donkey. I'm doing pretty good tonight, huh? Yeah. I'm gonna show you guys this thing with the rope. Sorry. When I do this trick, people always come up to me and ask me questions that I don't understand, like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And you notice that your mental health isn't. This is a cry for help. So basically, what happens is that a couple of years ago, I learned how to do this particular illusion, and I won't take it out of my act, even though it's not that good. So people tell me I'm not supposed to say that to people, the audience, but I think you guys are awesome people, and you deserve to know the truth about me. I am a giant spider.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years, but everybody thinks it's a joke, but it's not a joke. My superpower is I can lure people into a false sense of security because I seem safe, but I'm really a dangerous half man, half spider hybrid. And I warned you, and you need to remember that once I lure you into a false sense of security. It's like any insect hybrid, I feed on pain from my childhood and tell jokes about it in my set. As you can see, I have 3 pieces of rope. They're all different lengths. If I wave my hands over the rope like this, it doesn't do anything. It just reminds me of when my dad decided to leave for 13 years in the 90s. Thank you for laughing at my pain. All I have to do is kind of stretch the ropes out like this, and you can see now they're all the same length. And actually, if I do this the way it's supposed to be done, I can take this piece of rope and that piece of rope and put it through, and one of the piece of ropes disappears. I didn't like it either, so
Yeah.
we'll just go back to the way it was, like that. So we have 3 pieces.
Okay.
All right. Well,
Whoa.
I think I'm just gonna move on.
Woo.
I'm not done yet. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna do the thing with the shot glass and the billiard ball later. There will be. I got this. Have you guys ever heard of KY jelly? Well, my last name is Kilmer, and I put the K in KY jelly. That was a dirty one. I'm sorry. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, so I'm going to do a card trick, which I think people will like. Oh, by the way, happy Halloween.
Aw.
I know I found this outside. I was just sitting on someone's porch, and I said, you know what? It's gonna be mine now. Yep. I told you guys you weren't gonna like this. Anyway, so That was the trick, and I hope you guys have a good night. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Everything I've said up till now has been completely serious, so that's the joke part. So, Kirk Broussard, how you doing? Just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. Just memorize that card, okay?
All right.
I'm gonna give you a piece of technical sleight of hand that you've come to know from me. I just need you to remember this because I can't do it again.
Right on.
And what we do is we just get rid of the card like that.
Woo! Woo!
Yeah, I know I dropped it on the floor, but so what I'm gonna do is, Kirk, I don't know what your card is, but I'm gonna do something really cool. I haven't done anything yet. Hold on. Kirk, it's like I just made this up right now. Kirk, can you see the pumpkin?
No.
That's, you're supposed to say yes.
I mean, yes.
No, don't. Now they know.
I mean, I can't see
Anyway.
the pumpkin.
Well, yeah, it's right here.
Right. Now I can.
Now, when you cover the pumpkin, you can't see it, right?
Correct.
No, you're supposed to say yes. You're
Yes.
supposed to say you could see it.
I
Like
can.
that.
Huh.
Is that your card?
Hell yeah. Nice.
Nice. I just want everybody to know we're gonna have a good Thanksgiving. And see, that was the joke. It was sometimes you don't always. I should have just stuck to doing dirty jokes, and I think I actually wrote a dirty joke for tonight's set. But my fiance Rebecca told me I'm not allowed to say it because it involves her. And since I don't have sex with anybody else. The last show I did was at a strip club, and I hadn't been to a strip club since I was 18, and now I'm 38. And the only thing Rebecca could say to that, because I says, hey, Rebecca, are you comfortable with me doing comedy magic at a strip club? And after she was done laughing at me, she said, as long as you're not out there getting blowjobs from people. And then I looked at her and I says, number one, who do you think I'm getting blowjobs from? And who are these people? Look at me. I'm adorable. People like me for the same reason that they have pugs. I have autism. And now you don't know whether to laugh or not. And that's not my problem. So I'm going to do this trick with a Rubik's Cube because when I was 9, I was diagnosed with autism. But if you don't laugh at any of my jokes, you're a bad person. And if you were a bad person, you weren't going to laugh anyway. So what are you going to do? The answer is nothing. You're not going to do anything. So I'm going to show you how this Rubik's Cube helps me with my social anxiety because I suffer from that. And sometimes I don't like to go into public places, and sometimes I act normal because I normally am very weird. But you could tell if I act normal, I'm actually having an anxiety attack. That's not really a joke, but what happens is that if I kind of just squeeze the Rubik's Cube on the sides, I can get them all to solve each other. All the pieces. I know, it's like a trick. I could do it. Don't worry, Alicia, I'm finishing up. We all have stuff to do tonight. I don't know what you're doing, but I'm doing things that I can't talk about.
Oh.
And they're not what you think. We're making fried dough tonight. Yes. I'm gonna pound out some dough. I'm gonna stretch some dough. See, what your brain's doing right now is you're making all these dirty because we're a group of comedians. Don't forget who did that. I did. I'm going to snap my fingers and turn the bag around and show you that the Rubik's Cube has now solved itself. I know, that's not even a joke. Okay. And this Rubik's Cube is also solved, just in case you thought I might have used two. I did, but I'm pretty good at solving Rubik's Cubes. I forgot to set my timer, Alicia. How much more time do I have?
You have a minute and a half.
So I'm going to tell you guys a dirty joke. A blonde, a brunette, and a redhead walk into a bar. And they had a good time because I'm a feminist. Those types of jokes aren't funny. Stop telling them. I don't care. I don't care. Everybody's having a good time. You work hard through the week and you deserve to go out and have quality time with the friends that you don't like. No one likes their friends. We're all acquaintances. Change my mind. Change my mind. I'm right here. Somebody, that was the crowd work portion of my show. I understand the greater audience doesn't know what crowd work is, but if a comedian ever asks you how you're doing, just run away. Because we don't care. But I do. I've always cared about you. My costume didn't work, but just understand that when you put googly eyes on anything, it makes it adorable. So in my last 5 seconds, I just want to let everybody know that I appreciate your time. You're doing pretty good, Jeff. And I'm gonna watch Rachel's set because I'm very interested in hearing what she has to say, and so should you. I'll be watching. That wasn't a threat. Have a good night, everybody.
All right. Paul with the polite threats. Thank you, Paul. Fantastic. Always a good time. Loving Rubik's Cubes. Guys, it's Halloween. I'm excited about it. I love horror movies. The one thing I don't get is like why people are obsessed with vampires. Like, I get that they're like, ooh, sexy, whatever, but to me, it's the age difference. You know, it's just like too much. I mean, it's just like you're dating someone 10 years older. No big deal. No big deal. But 20 years older, you're like, maybe he was her college professor. Who knows? You know, 30 years older. I'm not saying she's a gold digger. Yes, that's actually exactly what I'm saying. 40 years older. That's just the Grim Reaper following around the person with a shovel. And that Grim Reaper's name is Anna Nicole Smith, you guys. But then it starts to change. You know, people are like 100 years older. I'm listening. 150 years older. Tell me more. 200 years older. Sexy. Like, to me, it's like, I don't want to hear about the fact that you were there during Prohibition. Like, I don't, it's not sexy to me. This is my impression of Edward from Twilight, played by Matthew McConaughey. Okay. Edward from Twilight, played by Matthew McConaughey. All right, all right, all right. That's what I like about them high school girls. We both stay the same age. Pretty good, pretty good. Yeah, I do like scary movies. You know, it turns out actually that Frankenstein's monster actually was quite the ladies' man. And a lot of people were upset by that because he just nuts and bolts. I you know, have a question for you. Why did the mummy wear a condom? Because he likes to keep it wrapped up, you guys. I knew this guy named John, who was an acrobat, but all of his friends called him Jack the Flipper. So, yeah, apparently we're not friends. So, yeah, what is the name of the scariest Care Bear? Telltale Heart. He's got the same powers as like regular Care Bears, you know. Care Bears stare at you creepily until you look away. That's his superpower, you guys. Let's see. This one's kind of a thinker, but I like it. This is the one I don't know. Other people are like, what? And I'm like, I don't care. What is Michael Myers' favorite song? Bohemian Rhapsody, you guys. Wayne's World. Get into it, guys. Get into it. If you liked those puns, then you're gonna love the queen of the pun, our next performer, Rachel Rothenberg.
Hello, everybody. My name is Rachel Rothenberg, and I think that the first thing that you need to know about me is that I'm a very pedantic person, so much so that my favorite classic rock band is The Whom, and I was raised part Jewish and part goth, so my second favorite classic rock band was always Black Shabbat. I can't do this. I literally can't like see through these eye holes. I need to change this. Anyway, hello. You guys, I consider myself a lady, but in the way that you scream it in traffic, you know, like, hey lady, I'm driving here. Or like, get out of the way, lady. Or like, hey lady, go fuck yourself. You know, a lady. Yeah, I would go so far as to say that I am lovely, but in the way that people say it sarcastically, like, how was the open casket wake for the hideously mutilated car crash victim? Oh, it was lovely. You know, I'm charming. You get the idea. People have told me before that with a face like mine, I should have been a 1920s actress. And then they specified a 1920s radio actress. People are so mean, you guys. You would not believe it. Anyway, I have noticed that my face has begun to disintegrate a little bit. But, you know, when I was a little kid, my mother warned me. She said, Rachel, you need to stop rolling your eyes all the time. You need to stop scowling. You need to stop frowning or your face is going to get stuck like that forever. And it did. She was right. So I started using something called retinol, and an older woman advised me against using it because she said, Rachel, it's going to thin your skin. And it turned out that she was right, because ever since I started using the stuff, I suddenly hate it when people call me a bitch. I always say there are two types of women in this world: women who are me and women who aren't me. And that's not me bragging. That's just an ontological fact. We can't both be the same woman, okay? I am very into period clothing, though. I'm very into period clothing, which is to say that I love to free bleed in vintage dresses. And you probably won't believe this about me, but I usually wear a women's large, but when I talk to the dead, I'm a medium. the spooky Halloween joke, and it's false actually, because the truth is I'm more than a medium or a large. I've actually gained a fair bit of weight recently, but I also recently moved here to New York City. Little did I know that in the year 2021, both my hometown and my body shape would become the Big Apple. I didn't think about it, but I've continued in spite of this to expose the patch of skin between my belly button and my vagina, knowing full well that that's a faux pas. I'm just gonna look until I'm just gonna wait for you to laugh. Okay. Okay. The truth is that joke is a little weird, but I am something of a disturbed individual. Just the other day, my husband actually dropped a casual remark into a conversation about my nightmares. And I was like, my nightmares? What are you talking about? And he was like, the nightmares you're literally always describing to me, like the one where you're wading through knee-deep human shit in your wedding dress, or the one where you're pulling clumps of hair from your throat like clogs from a bathtub drain, or the one where you're shitting an entire chicken, feathers and all, and you're having to extract it from your ass, or the one where you're having to learn how to use a humiliating human litter box in front of a cruise ship full of people. Your nightmares, Rachel? And I said, oh, those? I just call those my dreams. You may have noticed a scatological theme to the dreams, or the nightmares, as the case may be, and that's because I suffer from irritable bowel syndrome, a poop disease, but I have the opposite of Alicia's kind. I have the kind where I eat food and it just falls out the other side of my body like a ghost in a cartoon, but I wake up each morning and I go through the same routine with my IBS. I wake up and I'm hurting and I'm inevitably sent into a panic attack by the pain. And then I wind up clogging my toilet and I have to unclog it using a pipe snake, right? And then in a moment of sheer body horror, I look down upon myself and I realize that I'm nude, because that's how I tend to sleep and hang out at home, right? And then to deal with the stress and the pain and the whole situation, I have to smoke a bowl and cancel whatever plans I made for the day. And I call this routine the wake and ache and shake and quake and snake and nake and bake and flake. And I do that shit every day, literally every day. But because I spend so much time in my bathroom, though, I keep a book in there, a book on the Velvet Underground for those times when I need a little Lou Reed. Yeah. I'm what I call myself a gastromasochist. I'm a person who eats all sorts of foods that make her sick, and I just endure the consequences, and I put myself through horrible pain to eat delicious foods. And people always say that their body is like a temple, right? And I'm a Jew, so I guess my body is like a synagogue. But if that's the case, if my body is like a synagogue, I treat it like I'm an anti-Semitic vandal, When I eat something like wheat or dairy, it's like I'm breaking a priceless stained glass window. And when I eat something like pizza, it's like I'm painting a swastika on the exterior of the building. It ought to be a hate crime against myself. Oh my God. That's not the first time I'm going to talk about swastikas. That's not the last time, I mean. All right. Okay. I'm not pregnant, though. I'm not pregnant, but I think that diarrhea would make a beautiful name for a girl. Okay, hear me out. It's got Dia. It's got Dia, like Diana, like Princess Diana. And it's got Rhea, like the daughter of Gaia and Uranus. Diarrhea. I just think it's feminine and it's beautiful. And I hope I never have a daughter for this reason. Okay, my poor daughter, diarrhea. Honestly. Okay, I'm a little bit mentally disturbed. I have bipolar and OCD and anxiety. And the worst thing I think, though, about having OCD is it's right there in the name. It's the disorder part. The obsession and the compulsion I can handle, but the disorder just makes me shudder. OCD. Okay. But, I had to start taking beta blockers for my anxiety. And the weirdest thing happened. You see, I stopped being attracted to my husband. That's a mean joke. That's a terrible joke, and I shouldn't have told it, but I did ask his permission if I could tell it, and he said yes, which proves it. He actually, the least feminist thing is that I asked him for permission to tell a joke. But anyway, let's see. I went to see a therapist. I go to see a therapist, and I actually recently told my therapist I loved her using a slideshow cast in light upon a wall, and she told me that I was projecting. It's so dumb. I'm so sorry. But, I told her that someone was stalking me. This was a valid concern. I said, hey, listen, some guy is stalking me, but my stalker is very polite. You see, my stalker held the door open for me, and he said, I am after you. She sent me to the hospital in light of my strange things I was telling her. She sent me to the hospital in an ambulance. And while I was in the ambulance, I got to thinking about how it's funny that they call the noise that emergency vehicles make a siren, as though the gorgeous maidens from Greek mythology who sat on the rocks and lured sailors to their doom were singing, woo, 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 woo. I also learned something else while I was in the ambulance. You see, I learned that you're actually allowed to die while driving. Did you know this? As long as you do it in the passing lane. Okay, I need to bring this back to reality. Okay, this is like, I'm going off the rails. Okay, in addition to the aforementioned psychological disturbances, I am also a hypochondriac. But I'm a stand-up comedian in addition to this. So what that means is there's not a moment that goes by when I'm on stage that I don't think I'm literally dying up here. Literally dying. Okay. I think bodies are a nightmare in general. You see, I have a condition called Raynaud's phenomenon, which causes you to lose circulation to your extremities, and it causes your hands and feet to turn white or blue, and you lose all feeling to them. And naturally, doctors are looking for a cure for Raynaud's, but I always say you can pry my Raynaud's from my cold, dead hands. That's the symptom of Raynaud's. Okay. I have never been a strong woman, if I'm being honest. I've never been a strong woman. I used to have special accommodations made for me in gym class because my elbows bend backwards. You see, I can't do a push-up. I've always been something of a loose woman. I suffer from hypermobility, and my mother always said, I was going to grow up into a loose woman because she always had to pop me back together. And as such, I've grown into an adult female klutz. I often have visible injuries like strange bruises or weird scratches or black eyes, which are difficult to explain, right? And I go and I gave myself a black eye with a bar of soap once, for example. I was in my bathtub and it was like stuck on the edge of the tub, and I was trying to pop it off, and finally it popped off and my arm swung around and I hit myself in the eye with it, And I gave myself a fucking black eye that way. And I go out in public with visible injuries like this, and people come up to me and they say to me, who did this to you? What man did this to you? And I'm always like, excuse me, you sexist piece of shit. You think I couldn't have done this to myself? And you call yourself a feminist. Clearly you hate women. Okay. Besides, I don't hang out with men who beat me, all right? Except at games like chess and Scrabble. That's actually exactly the type of man I hang out with. Okay. I am indeed a heterosexual, but only because I can't play the weird one in my comedic double act without a straight man. But I grew up a feminist child, so when I had a crush on a boy, I would always find myself writing in my notebooks over and over again, my first name with my last. I got married in 2020, which was pretty cool. But, we had to postpone our wedding due to COVID, which was this whole ordeal. And it turned out that we should have stuck to our original plan. We got engaged in April of the previous year, and we talked about getting married on 9/11 of that year, but we decided it was just too soon. My husband and I are in an interracial relationship because only one of us is named that, obviously. He and I don't have any kids, but, I have noticed that since I turned 30, I have been wanting to spend more time with babies, like fresh babies, like new babies. Like I've been wanting to deliver other people's babies. And I realized that what's happening to me is that I'm having a midwife crisis. So I went to a women's health conference sponsored by Mency, the Society for Lady Geniuses. And there was an after party at the women's health conference, and it turned out that I was woefully unprepared for it because it turned out that the after party was BYOBGYN. That's what happened. Anyway, I went to see a specialist while I was there. I went to see an orthodontogynecologist to get my crooked vagina fixed. And what do you know? He prescribed me panty aligners. Orthodonture for my vagina. Can you believe this shit? Oh my God. While I was there, I went to see another doctor, another specialist, about the fact that I felt itchy anytime I heard a California accent. And that doctor told me, of course you do. It's because you have an yeast inflection. I heard somebody say stupid, and I agree. Didn't choose this. All right. Well, I brought my cat with me. I brought my cat with me actually to the conference. You're not going to believe this. If you didn't believe that, you're really not going to believe this. I brought my cat with me to the conference because my cat was also struggling with a women's health conundrum. You see, my cat was pregnant with a single kitten, but she wasn't ready to be a mom. So I took her to the vet for 9 abortions. Now, in case you missed the math on that the first time, my cat got pregnant again later on with a litter this time, a litter of 6, but her career was just starting to take off. So I took her back to the vet for 54 abortions. Oh my God. Unbearable stuff. While I was there in the waiting room, waiting for my cat to have her first abortion completed, which, you know, I'm not judging. I respect a cat's right to choose. While I was waiting in the waiting room, I got to talking to a sheep, and she confided in me that she was a lesbian. And I told her, you do you, girl. Shouldn't have laughed at that one. She tried to persuade me against wearing animal products. And I told her, you know, hey, when it comes to wearing brushed leather, I can't be swayed. Okay. I got to stop with these. No, I don't. I came back from the conference, and my husband confessed something to me. He told me that while I was away, he had gotten a hand job from a doctor. And now he has the most beautiful hands I've ever seen, and he's pursuing a career as a hand model. He got them done. They're beautiful, beautiful hands. Gorgeous hands, you guys. I told him, we got into it before I understood the nuances of the scenario that we were in. I got into an argument with him about this on a boardwalk, and I told him to go pound sand. And what do you know? He fucked the beach. What a doofus. Anyway, I need to, okay, that's fake. I'm not having a midwife crisis. That's not even true. I'm actually not having a midwife crisis. Okay, if anything, when I experience baby hunger, the extent to which I experience baby hunger is I experience curiosity about what a baby's flesh might taste like. Okay. I notice that I experience cute aggression. I feel more than the average person. I'm not sure. Maybe you guys can give me some feedback on this. But you see, like, I experience the cute aggression when I look at my 2 cats. You know, I worry if I had a kid, I might want to eat it, you know, because when I look at my 2 cats, I just, you know, I get the cute aggression. I look at them and I just feel so, I just want to hug them and squeeze them and squish them and smash them and grind them into a fine paste and then slather my body with the paste and then lick it off myself and then swallow it down and become them, you know? Cute aggression, right? Somebody understands. I don't know. That's a joke in which I'm eating my pets, and that's weird, but I would actually sooner eat a person than a cat. Not because I would never eat a cat, but just because I'm extremely curious about person. If I ever die in such a way that my meat remains viable, I do plan to donate my body to science, you know, culinary science. I'm extremely well marbled. You have no idea. All right. Okay. All right. Speaking of eating things that you're not supposed to eat, people always say that you swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep, right? But I always say you don't have to swallow 8 spiders a year in your sleep, but you will if you're a good little spider slut. Where do I go from there? I've kept a lot of bugs. You know, I'm kind of an expert on bugs because I've kept a lot of praying mantises, and in the process, I've kept a lot of flies to feed my praying mantises. And there's an expression which says that you catch more flies with honey than with vinegar, right? And that's said to people to encourage them to be nice to one another. But the truth is that I learned from catching flies that, in fact, you actually catch flies using wine or rotting fruit. Okay, that's how you catch flies. And what's the moral of that story? I don't know. I mean, I think it's maybe don't be nice, you know, maybe be be drunk and gross. That's how you catch flies. If you insist upon catching flies. I think I got into keeping bugs because as a Jew, I empathize with bugs. I feel like bugs are the Jews of the non-human animal world. And you have to hear me out on this. You see, I've kept a lot of bugs in a lot of apartments, and I always have these weird, I encounter these weird, Nazi Germany-esque restrictions when I go to do this. When I move in, I have to sign all this paperwork saying that I'm absolutely not knowingly bringing any of them into the building, right? That's very creepy stuff. And then, what's the deal when the landlord comes by? I have to hide them in my closet like Anne Frank, and what's going to happen if he finds them? If my landlord sees my bugs, he's going to send over a man in a brown shirt to gas my house. It's fucked up shit. I think a lot about the Holocaust, as you can tell. I think specifically about an alternate reality, in which things could have turned out differently. I get to thinking a lot about what if, Hitler had been born a millennial, maybe he could have gone on YouTube. And maybe he could have ranted and raved on there. And maybe, just maybe, he would have been content with 6 million views. That's a joke I can make, but you really should not laugh. That's my opinion. People always say that opinions are like assholes. And I agree that opinions are like assholes. I have many, many more than I'm supposed to. That joke was just for Alicia. It's a joke in which I'm hideously deformed, all right? But I only have stupid opinions. I only have dumb opinions. I like to own the libs, so I've been purchasing leftists on the black market to be my slaves, right? I was confused recently when I learned about QAnon because I thought it was pronounced Quanon, and I thought it was the ingredient which gives tonic water its distinctive flavor. I was super confused during the last election because there was this phrase going around about blue no matter who. And I was always like, blue no matter who? You mean my entire dating strategy from 2009 to 2012? I did do that. Because I have an oral fixation. That's the truth. I have an oral fixation, and according to my therapist, it's because I didn't suck enough dick as a baby. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's pretty disturbing if it is. But the benefit of this is that I love to go to the dentist, and I love to go to the dentist because it combines my two favorite things, right? Oral hygiene and big, hairy, gloved hands inside my mouth. The last time I went to the dentist, he told me that I had 10 cavities, but that my teeth were in flawless condition. And I counted them, and I was like, wait a second, are you counting the belly button or the urethra? Because honestly, it could go either way with that last one. Okay. Cool. I recently, I don't know if I can even talk about this here or not, but hey, it's Halloween. We should talk fluids, right? I recently swallowed some cum after eating some pizza. And my imagination ran away from me when I did this. You see, I got to thinking about how I was swallowing cum to avoid the risk of pregnancy, right? But imagine if there was a pregnancy risk involved in swallowing cum, and you could get pregnant in your belly with a half human, half food baby. Can you imagine this? A half human, half pizza abomination. Can you picture it now? The amniotic sac would be filled with marinara sauce, I imagine. And when the doctor inevitably delivers this baby, pun of course intended, instead of slapping it on the ass, the doctor would have to artfully toss it into the air and catch it on their fingertips, right? A girl, I would have to name her Margarita. And if it were a boy, sausage and peppers. I'm just kidding, guys. It's 2021. If you are still naming your child something gendered like sausage and peppers, you are a bigot. You need to let them choose their own toppings. Hello. Okay. All right. Well, yes. So I just moved to New York from Utah. And despite that previous joke, I do understand how sex works. Okay. I didn't get a Utah sex education. You see, in a Utah sex education, they tell you all sorts of fake stuff to try to convince you to stay abstinent. Like, for example, they tell you that the vagina is like a sneaker, right? They say, what do you think your future husband's going to want? A brand new, crisp white sneaker, never been worn, or an old, worn out sneaker the entire football team's gone for a run in. And I just think that's so disgusting. Because guys, it's 2021. If you're still buying any of your clothing firsthand, including sneakers, you are contributing directly to the fast fashion cycle, and you are probably responsible for the deaths of countless children in factories in Bangladesh, and you ought to be ashamed of yourself, firstly. But secondly, why in this scenario am I marrying a man who wants to fuck a shoe? I don't understand it. I think if anything, the vagina isn't like a sneaker at all. It's like a cast iron pan, you know? It gets better with every use, and you can't wash the interior of either one with soap, but in the case of one, it's because it cleans itself, and in the case of the other one, it's because my husband meticulously oils it up every week and rubs it down with a scrap of chainmail. Yeah. I've mentioned my husband a few times, but I haven't told you much about him. He is also a comedian, but he is an improviser, and I am a stand-up. And what this means for our sex life is 1 minute before I come, I shine a flashlight in his eyes, and when he comes, he says, "And scene." My husband is a gentleman, you know, a gentleman. Nowadays, we just call a man like that a simping beta cuck. I've told several jokes at this man's expense, but I honestly, I'm obsessed with him. Like, it's like weird. I'm not going to eat him or anything, but like, I like him a lot. You know, I like him maybe too much, you know, but I feel really lucky in the sense that I've gotten to spend a lot of time around his family, and I've been invited to his parents' houses. And when I go to his parents' houses, I see pictures of him as like a younger man. And every time I see a picture of him as a younger man, I get to thinking like, oh my God, he was so handsome. I would totally do him at that age. He looks good. And then I see the pictures of him as, you know, a teenager, maybe a high schooler. And I look at the pictures and I go, oh, he looks great. Honestly, still might do him. Is that wrong? I'm not sure. And then I see the pictures of him as like a little kid, and I'm like, oh my God, he's still kind of hot. Our love transcends time and age. Would I have fucked this kid? That's not a joke about pedophilia. It's a joke about contemplating the possibilities of love. Okay. No, it's okay. We're moving on. I always say that in a healthy and sex-positive heterosexual relationship, one of you ought to be easy and the other one ought to be hard, okay? That's just my advice to you. But my husband, though, he can't always get hard for hours after working on the assembly line. He calls it his refractory period. Oh, stupid. Oh, my God. I can't help myself. I can't stop. He tries to do it to me flaccid, and I have to tell him, you know, I just don't know if I have it in me. I think it's probably not cool to admit this, but I think that sex as a straight lady is pretty cool because the man usually leaves something inside of you. And I just think that's romantic, right? You know, and I got to thinking about this while hacking up a pube over my bathroom sink. But you know, that's kind of a depraved joke. I've been diagnosing myself lately with various depravities, actually, while reading the BDSM-5. I recently looked upon an electric milk frothing latte whisk in my kitchen, and I thought about using it as a vibrator. And that's why I don't trust myself with a gun. You know, the implication therein being that I might try to fuck a gun. Anyway, I took up a new hobby, which I thought was innocent enough, you know, handwriting analysis. And I was shocked to learn that my handwriting strongly indicated that I was into oral sex, both because of my large and consistent loops and because instead of writing using ink, I write exclusively using spit out cum. Okay. All right, fine. I'm almost through telling you these horrible truths. My husband and I have been wearing lately adult diapers for two. You know, codepends. I tell him he's not allowed to die until we've been married for 50 years, right? Our golden anniversary, because that's the one where you finally get to piss on each other. Okay. I've managed to be married for over a year now and not turn into one of those straight women who's always posting on social media, you know, I'm so lucky to be married to my best friend, right? It's always that, and every time I see it, I'm like, damn, way to friend zone your husband. Talk about a power move. Shit. Oh my God. But you know, my husband doesn't care what I talk about in my stand-up, provided I don't get too graphic about his, you know, genitals, right? He's always like, just don't talk about that. You're too graphic when you talk about it, Rachel. Don't talk about it. But the truth is, he has the type of dick which instills fear in a woman. You know what I'm saying? It has 4 sets of teeth, 25 eyes, countless disgusting appendages which serve no discernible purpose. It has a prehensile urethra. It's truly an abomination. It's hideous. What I'm trying to tell you is he has a monster cock. And that's to say nothing of its moral character. You see, his penis was seen storming the Capitol on January 6th. It's monstrous. It forces him to shave his pubes into a weird little square mustache. Oh my God, Hitler again. Okay. Okay. All right. I actually don't truthfully have particularly weird sex. That is a lie. The weirdest sex that I've had recently was I had sex while I was high, and all that happened was I had an orgasm shaped like a cube, okay? That's what happened. But, I nonetheless think that even within the confines of a monogamous relationship, one ought to establish boundaries of consent, right? Like, you need to have maybe like a safe word, or in my case, well, I don't have a safe word, but I do have a safe paragraph. And the way that works is I'll be having sexual relations, and when things start to go down some avenue that I decide that I no longer enjoy, I say to completion, I henceforth revoke consent for intercourse, outer course, handercourse, mouthercourse, and uphold the revocation of consent for anal course, as well as the continuation of the unfashionable bans on analingus and all accompanying anus-related phalangeal acts upon me. Please withdraw yourself from whatever hole or holes you presently inhabit and cease all ejaculatory endeavors at once. All of it, every time, and it works. It really works. Ladies and gentlemen and everybody else, guys, that's what I recommend to you. Okay, I'm gonna tell you one more thing, and it's gonna be the worst thing of all. Do you want to know what it is?
Yeah.
Kirk does. All right. Well, so I mentioned I just moved to I moved to New York from Salt Lake City, Utah. And Salt Lake City is really where I did comedy up until now. I mean, it's where I started doing it. It's where I learned to do it at all. And the focus in Utah is really on clean comedy. And this was obviously a problem for me because whenever I sit down to try to write clean material, I end up writing the dirtiest jokes I've ever written in my life, right? And they don't even always make sense. It's like my desire to be depraved outweighs my desire to make sense, I think. And like I sit down to try to write clean shit, and what I write instead is stuff like, I hate getting fucked in the ass, but boy, do I love taking a shit out of my pussy. You're probably like, Rachel, that doesn't even make sense. Why are you telling us this? And I'll tell you why I'm telling you this in 1 second, but it does make sense in the sense that shitting out of your pussy is the opposite of getting fucked in the ass. Okay, but the reason I'm telling you this is because I tried to clean up this joke. So I'm going to tell you about my attempts to clean up the joke, okay? I wanted to try to tell this joke in Provo, Utah, right? So I thought maybe if I change the wording, maybe I can say it a little bit differently. Maybe I can say something different like, I hate getting bonked in the rear, but boy, do I love taking a dump out of my down there's. And that's even worse. So I was like, maybe I'll use a metaphor, right? Like I hate getting banged in the butt, but boy, do I love pinching a loaf from my bread box. And that's definitely way worse. So finally I was like, fuck it. I'm just going to tell this joke in Yiddish. And that's how I'm going to get away with telling it on my clean comedy special. Okay. I hate getting stuffed in the tuchus, but boy, do I love cocking out of my schmundi. Happy Halloween, everybody. I hope I've given you nightmares. Thank you, Alicia. Bye.
Woo! All right, you guys. This was an awesome show. Let's hear it again for Rachel Rothenberg. Woo! Very good. Awesome. Let's hear it again for Paul Kilmer. Woo! All right. Ham Clancy. Killing it over there. Yeah. And Brian Barbecue. Starting us out right. I'm Alicia Rain, your host. Thank you, everybody, so much. I'm going to go ahead and figure out how to stop recording.